on Callout, Whistler Search and Rescue goes out of bounds to find a missing snowboarder.
It's like Fight Club, and there is a whole host of dangers that can take you down.
And later, trainees learning to become Canadian military search and rescue technicians, SARTECs, head for Resolute Bay in the high Arctic.
It's a shock to the system, so your body needs time to adapt to that rapid change of temperature.
Wednesday, 9 a.m. Whistler Search and Rescue receives a call for a missing snowboarder. Evan Malik, a 24-year-old up-and-coming musician and snowboarder with 16 years' experience, was living in Whistler only 2 weeks when he was reported missing by roommates after failing to return home the previous night.
He's got blue jacket, black pants, and an orange toque. We've got a lost skier. We think he's down in the Fitzsimmons Creek. And we're just kind of starting to gather some information and write that up on our board here. He's not known to go out of bounds.
He was last seen heading for Seventh Heaven, an area on the far left of Blackcomb Mountain that has some heavily treed and black diamond runs. Whistler Blackcomb Ski Patrol shut down the lift, clear skiers out, and search the area.
We don't like to do it, but we do it because if we have a concern that someone's down in a tree well, we would prefer to find them sooner rather than later.
Evan is not found within the slopes of the Seventh Heaven. He must be out of bounds in Blackcomb's huge backcountry area.
We suspected that the subject had entered an out-of-bounds area in Fitzsimmons Creek. This is an area that's well known to us to contain hazardous terrain.
The search area is located in the valley between Whistler and Blackcomb Mountains. There's a lot of ground to cover.
11 o'clock or so now. We just attended the heliport. We'll be flying out to Fitzsimmons Creek looking for Evan, a snowboarder.
Gavin Christie, along with 2 other Whistler SAR members, scan the heavily treed mountainside for any sign of Evan. Just minutes into the flight, word comes over the radio.
All SAR radios, subject has been located. Stand down. Repeat, stand down at this time.
Evan has been located, safe and sound, far from the search site.
So that pretty well concludes our mission. He was located at home. So our team is now standing down, and we'll just have to debrief how the communication went and who he was supposed to be checking in with.
Anytime a missing person is located alive and well, it's a successful mission for SAR. But in this case, much of the search could have been avoided.
So another one of our searchers.
Evan is brought back to the SAR base for a debriefing.
Hi, Evan. Pleased to meet you. Come on in.
We'll debrief a subject after a search, trying to define better what the lost person behavior is, what drove that person to decide to go out of bounds or otherwise engage in an activity that led them into this problem.
So it's important for us to understand what's going through your mind at the time. So when you got off the lift at the top of Seventh Heaven, what was your intent?
Yeah, I mean, it's early morning, the sun is shining, it's beautiful out, there's hardly anyone on the mountain, so you want to find the freshest area.
And I saw the fresh tracks, you know, in the distance, and I traversed as far as I could go, and there were still people around at that point, so I still felt comfortable, but, you know, there were only 3 or 4 of them. This is the earliest tracks of the day. And I'm cruising around, carving beautiful, beautiful snow. And eventually I'm on my own.
This particular backcountry area has several opportunities to return to the inbound slopes.
You saw signs that you went outside the boundary? You knew?
No, I saw a sign that said exit while I was in the back, and I was in total control. I wasn't.
Oh, I'm not, without a doubt you were in control. What I'm saying is
there was a sign that said exit.
No exit?
No, it says exit.
Yeah.
I decided to keep going because I figured I'd have another opportunity to rejoin the mainstream mountain.
The opportunity never came, and Evan was not prepared for the conditions that followed.
Millions of people come to enjoy Whistler Blackcomb, as they do many of British Columbia ski resorts. And while they're here, they enjoy the safety and comfort of a controlled recreation area complete with ski patrols, avalanche forecasts. It's like a big comfy couch. However, when they choose to lift that line or otherwise ski out of the ski area boundary, it's like Fight Club. And there is a whole host of dangers that can take you down.
Once they get out there, if you keep going downhill, it doesn't necessarily bring you to a lift. It could bring you to another mountain range.
It was still early afternoon when Evan realized he was in a bad spot.
The terrain is getting more and more challenging. I'm getting less and less energy, not having eaten anything that day, not having brought anything to sustain me. I'm getting pretty scared at this point. And then I receive a text message. As my phone vibrates, I reach out to see what's written. As soon as I read the message, the phone dies in my hand. Battery's completely dead. I try to revive it, not possible. And I realize, not where I'm supposed to be.
Did you have any overnight gear or any backpack or any traveling terrain gear? So we really don't look fondly upon that. We prefer that people who go into our backcountry have the skills and the tools to do it. We get a lot of people who think rescue gear is a lighter, you know, and a cell phone. And that simply just doesn't cut it anymore.
Evan hadn't intended to go so far off the beaten path. As he got further down, the conditions got even worse.
The trees just became too thick, and my board got jammed between two of them, and I had to take the board off and start hiking. I'm just trying to get down in one piece at this point.
The unfortunate consequence of taking your skis off is that you tend to become unsteady on your feet and can incur serious injury.
Evan makes his way down to a clearing and sees a landmark, the peak-to-peak gondola. He waves his board frantically, trying to make himself visible to the gondola riders. When this doesn't produce any results, he makes his way down even further, to the bank of Fitzsimmons Creek.
That area is very steep. You can get wet. You get wet in the mountains without any gear, you're basically done.
In the debriefing, Evan learns how lucky he is to have gone through this area and survived.
We pulled a girl out 2 years ago. She had done exactly the same thing as you. Exactly the same. Unfortunately, she succumbed, and we found her deceased right down in here, okay, in the creek bed.
With dusk fast approaching and no supplies, Evan makes camp for the night.
I didn't want my mother the next morning to receive a phone call saying that her son had been found frozen in the ground.
As night falls, Evan is at the mercy of the weather and the wildlife. He spends a long, cold night in his soaking wet clothes.
And when I woke up in the morning and I could move my toes and I could move my legs and I wasn't frozen, I just decided to walk. And I come out to this clearing where there's a snowmobile track.
The snowmobile track leads him out of the woods. At 9:30 Thursday morning, Evan finds his way to the village and stops for something to eat. At this point, the ski patrol has already begun searching for him on Blackcomb.
I should have touched base as soon as I got down, but it's kind of like a traumatic experience where you're just like, I didn't eat breakfast yesterday. And,
He returns home at 11 o'clock and contacts Whistler SAR, who are now combing the backcountry by ground and air.
I didn't know what they had expended in terms of time, money, and energy in order to try and find me.
At the debriefing, Brad aims to transform Evan's negative experience into a positive message to others.
For that reason that we do get mad is if you have to pull somebody that's succumbed out of a creek while they were having fun, you tend to see things a little bit different.
Yeah.
Not coming down on
No, I know.
What you become now for us is a disciple. Okay, and you go out and you preach the word.
No, I want to be that for you. It's a pleasure to be alive.
Evan is one of the lucky ones, back doing what he loves and eager to share his story.
Over a week ago, I almost died on Blackcomb Mountain spending the night.
So now I'm here to tell my story to make sure that people don't make the same mistakes that I have and that people can learn from what I experienced.
We are Fitzsimmons Creek.
Now, Canadian SARTEC trainees head for the Arctic.
I think a good phrase would be slow is fast in the Arctic. Working slow is definitely fast.
If someone needs rescue in Canada's vast wilderness, there's one group that will answer the call anywhere, anytime, and in nearly all weather conditions. The Canadian Forces Search and Rescue Technicians, SARTECs. Their motto? That others may live, and they've saved thousands of lives. Each year, 30 candidates compete for 16 spots in the 11-month SARTEC course. This year, only 13 candidates made the grade to take the course, and they're 5 months into it. Right now, they're leaving the relatively balmy 9 degrees of CFB Comox, British Columbia, for 8 days of on-the-ground Arctic survival training in one of the coldest places on Earth. Resolute Bay, Nunavut. Every year, thousands of planes pass over the Arctic to all parts of the world. If there's an incident, SARTECs will launch from any one of 5 Canadian search and rescue squadrons to cover the thousands of square kilometers of Arctic terrain. The students all have ideas of what the Arctic will be like, but classroom training can't prepare anyone for the reality of near 24-hour-a-day darkness, Arctic cold temperatures, and winds that freeze exposed skin in a few short minutes.
We're gonna go around to the back of the narwhal.
Corporal Robert Featherstone, a former co-pilot for a northern airline and a trainee himself, is the student leader, along with the very experienced SARTEC instructors.
I think I'm the only one with Arctic experience. So just basically maintaining that morale if the weather does turn bad and keeping everybody in line.
I've never been to the Arctic, but I feel with the infantry I have done a lot of outdoor stuff in some pretty cold climates. Hopefully it'll help out.
Definitely the exposure to the cold up there. It's you never know how you're going to react till you're actually in the situations.
Welcome to Resolute.
They arrive at Resolute Bay Airport bundled for the cold and braced for action. The students will stay at the Narwhal Hotel in Resolute, a tiny Arctic community with just over 200 residents. The trainees will spend the first 2 days working outside, allowing their bodies to adapt to the extreme cold. Then, they'll trek 7 kilometers to Crystal City, the SARTEC's training camp, where they'll spend the remainder of the course outdoors.
Keep yourselves hydrated and look after each other. You need to use your layering system. Okay?
It's critical for students to understand how fragile life can be in Arctic conditions, but still gain confidence that they, and those they rescue, can survive.
Do we need a windbreak right now to put a tent up?
Dealing with the Arctic phase, it's all about the attitude. It's being able to stay calm, positive attitude, and it can become frustrating. Everything takes a lot longer than you expect it to. Everything from putting a tent up, easy to put a tent up. When it's minus 70 and blowing up, not so easy to put the tent up. And you're cold and you want to get in that tent, you want to get your casualties in the tent, so you're trying to hurry. I think a good phrase would be slow is fast in the Arctic. Working slow is definitely fast.
I was in this operating environment, and the winds are supposed to be prevailing northeast to southwest. We left Comox where it's +9. You come here, it's minus 40, whatever, with the wind chill. It's a shock to the system, so your body needs time to adapt to that rapid change of temperature, and also the dry conditions, just the working environment, the tempo, all those kind of things.
Day 1, and the team starts training near the hotel, led by local Inuit subject matter experts Simon Idlout and his son Absalom. Their first challenge is to build survival trenches, or fighter trenches, quick, temporary shelters used when there are no snowdrifts available to dig into. As the snow blocks are cut and placed to the side for use in forming the roof, they're actually digging the trench they will lie in. Simon and Absalom show the trainees how to choose the best snow to cut blocks.
Put your saw all the way to the ground.
They learn to size and cut the blocks.
Cut it up about 3/4 inch.
His first cut, and what he's doing is going in about 3/4 of an inch for another cut, and that gives you that little flex factor to bring your block out.
What was he talking about with the angle?
That's another way of doing it.
Cutting snow blocks is not easy. Cut too fast and you could break your blocks. Bend the blade as you cut, and you'll break the blocks as well.
If you bent it, it broke out.
Oh, this one breaks?
Yeah, that's it. Push it straight down. Come off.
Oh.
You okay?
Okay.
Don't bend your saw.
The guys all get to practice cutting the snow blocks. Then Simon shows them how to build the fighter trench.
You don't want to make the thing too big, right? Too much heat.
Now it's the students' turn. They spread out and get to work.
Make sure you work slow enough that you're not gonna sweat. Keep a nice, easy rhythm going.
If you sweat and then you stop, respiration will freeze, temperature will drop, and you get onset of hypothermia.
Hold it. I say cutting like this.
At the bottom?
Sawing technique is truly important. Simon catches a lot of the students cutting snow like they'd cut wood.
Saw like this. I cut it wood like this, huh?
Snow is cut with the saw more vertical,
Yeah, that's
up and down.
Oh yeah. Really good.
It's starting to warm up. It's pretty nice now.
They work hard, but there are plenty of breaks to warm up. It's a real luxury to have the hotel close by. Spending time in fighter trenches helps the students appreciate how these simple shelters can protect from the cold and be quite livable, even with only minor sources of heat.
I put the hole in the...
Simon checks the ventilation before sealing the door.
I'm going to lock the door for you.
The students will spend time in every shelter they build.
So I'm here inside my snow trench. The hard part I found was just getting the angles right to set up the roof. It took a little while to kind of fiddle around with it and get them sitting just right. The other difficult part was just getting the door too, and that's just cutting the pieces properly to get a good seal for the entrance.
Come on out.
The instructors let them know when it's time to go back inside the hotel.
Yeah, it was warm. Candle going was good.
It's the end of a long day. The Sartec trainees make their way back to the warmth of the hotel. Day 2. Time to dig snow caves. A quick, temporary shelter made by digging into a snowdrift.
Means of getting you at a building.
Local wildlife, like the snow fox, do this for shelter as well.
Entrance, which is going to be wide enough.
The snow caves will have 3 levels to help trap the heat. The first level by the entrance is to store kit. The second level is a shelf to place your feet when sitting. The third level is rounded out as a platform to sit or sleep on.
And right where you sit, almost where your head is, poke out your knife, and that's going to be your vent hole. This is our training area. We're going to use this whole big dome in here, find yourself a piece of real estate, and start digging. I would actually try and get out of the wind. Over there.
If someone works up a sweat digging when it's windy, there's a greater chance of getting hypothermia.
I can believe this thing's gonna fit me.
I found some gold.
The work may be hard, but the guys have fun with it and make each of the caves their own.
Need to give mine an address. Just about done, just a few improvements. It's my first snow candle.
It's a work in progress.
Trying the cave on for size before attempting to seal up the door shows how cozy a snow cave can be. Making it just big enough reduces the amount of space to heat.
You see there's tons of room. Yeah, definitely. That was definitely warm in mine, man. What's that? This is going to be hard. How to close the door from the inside. This is going to be extremely hard.
Corporal Deschaines does figure out how to seal the door, and all students spend time in their snow caves before heading to the hotel.
Once you're out of the wind, like my jacket was off, just in my t-shirt, basically my toque was off.
A little more time consuming than yesterday's fighter trench, but
a lot warmer and ultimately, I guess, a lot more comfortable.
So these guys don't have the confidence when they first get here to stay out there and freeze in these elements. And through the first couple days, they get that experience. It gives them the confidence, but they also know there's a building here. When they do get wet and cold, they can come in and warm up, and it's building them up for when they're stuck out for the 4 days in Crystal City. Tomorrow morning, we'll be departing for Crystal City from the Narwhal, and we can only hope that the winds aren't 60 kilometers an hour. Very challenging walking tonight. We only did a couple Ks, but tomorrow it should be about 7 Ks to get out to Crystal City, and they'll be carrying their own equipment to get there. Once they get there, we'll show them where they have to live for the next 4 days, and then it's all their game right there.
One person gets their toboggans, one person gets a rucksack.
In the next call-out, Sartecs move to Crystal City to build igloos and stay outside for the rest of their Arctic training.
You guys will have exactly
Then,
5 minutes
a rescue call comes in.
together right here. Are there any questions? New course, boys, go.
Call-Out Search and Rescue features real stories filmed live by search and rescue teams during actual missions. Find out more at calloutsar.tv.